Saturday, November 18th, 2017, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So gold is dead. Well, I got a comment in my last video and from one of the viewers, and he said, Bitcoin is the new gold. Your gold means nothing to the younger generation. Well, I think that's been heard before. And it will probably be heard again in the future, but it's not true in my opinion. Before I go into the fundamental reason why I think gold is not dead and why Bitcoin is not the new gold, I want to go a little bit through what gold has been doing this year, because with the cryptocurrencies, surging ahead, there is this attitude that gold is finished. But we need to look at the figures. And I know that gold hasn't gone up as much as Bitcoin or Ethereum and other altcoins. But let's have a look here. Year to date till yesterday. And I'm going to go through different currencies. So in US dollars, gold is up 13.43%. Definitely beating any, government bond, any treasury at the moment. Probably even corporate bonds, even junk bonds. In sterling, up 4.83%. I guess the dollar hasn't had a great year, so even sterling is beating the dollar this year. British pound, 4.83%. Still a good return. That's a lot more than you're going to get in any bank here in the UK. I can trust you. Aussie dollar, 6.75%. The best performing fiat currency against gold that I've looked into of the major currencies is the euro. Euro is only up 0.75%, which is ironic because, with the ECB printing so much money and interest rates being negative in Europe, some of them, it's just, it's weird. But that's the way it is. Japanese yen, gorudo. That's gold in Japanese, gorudo. I'll try to say the word for gold in each language. Well, in yen, it's up 8.08%. In Canadian dollar, up 3.53%. So Canadian dollar has done well against the dollar, but not as well as against gold. I'm sorry, that's not the Canadian dollar. That's the Chinese yuan. The Chinese yuan, or chin, that's gold in Chinese. It's up 3.53%. Excuse me. Canadian dollar, well, that's gold is up 6.7% in Canadian dollars. Swiss franc, you'd think the Swiss franc, there's always a lot of talk about the Swiss franc being one of the best currencies, but it's up, gold is up 8.54% in Swiss francs this year. Kiwi dollar, or New Zealand dollar, up 14.46%. Brazilian real, 12.9%. South African rand, gold is up 9.4%. Indian rupee, 7.3%, and Russian ruble, 8.3%. So it feels like we're in a bear market in gold, but we're actually having a good year all around, especially in US dollars. Out of all these currencies that I've told you about, the US dollar, after the Kiwi dollar, is the worst performing currency against gold. And the other thing I wanted to look at is over, the last 10 years, in US dollars from 2008 till present, we've had only really 2 years where gold went down. I know that, 2013, it went down 27.8%. And actually 2014, it was down like a fraction by using the PM fix. The PM fix in London, or the AM fix on the last day of the year. That was down 0.18%. But if you go back to the day before, where they had the PM6 because it wasn't New Year's Eve, gold actually finished slightly higher on the year. So 2014 gold was unchanged. So, and this year it's up again. So out of the last 10 years from 2008, gold has only been down 2 of those years. So yes, it's not back up to the 2011 highs, but it's performed well. You know, it's the same thing as if next year Bitcoin, you know, drops 50% and trading at 4,000. Does that mean that Bitcoin is finished? No. In sterling is the same story. We've only had 2 years where it's dropped. 2013 and 2015. Even in 2014 in sterling it was up. And last year it was up 31.5%. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in sterling, gold in sterling, or for UK residents, is that if you buy any coin that is British minted, for example, the Britannias, Gold Britannia, or Gold Sovereigns, they're all capital gains exempt. So if you buy a big amount, let's say £100,000 worth of coins, and it doubles in a year, and you want to sell it, there is no capital gains tax. In any other investment, you'd have like a threshold of £11,000, and you'd pay the amount of income tax, the higher rate that you pay, either 25 or 40% on all the profit above 11,000. So gold is considered a currency. The legal tender value of British gold coins, the sovereign at least, is £1. So there is no capital gains tax on gold in the UK. But on Bitcoin, if you're going to liquidate your Bitcoin holdings, you need to declare. There will be capital gains tax on any profit above 11,000. I think it's roughly, that's the allowance. And in the States, it's even worse. I think I've looked at the capital gains, taxation in the US. It's so complicated. In the UK, it's not that complicated, but for gold, you pay no capital gains tax. You do, though, if you buy gold bars or foreign gold coins like Krugerrands or American gold coins. So for UK investors, it's a really good way to, keep your money, your wealth protected, and there is no tax whatsoever on sovereigns or Britannias. In the US, it's different. And for Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not considered a currency anywhere for tax purposes. It's only an investment. And so is gold in the US. So you need to take these factors into account. I don't know about the other countries. You need to look into that yourself. What else? Well, yeah, yesterday was an interesting day because gold did fairly well, but really surprised that it moved up after the LBMA finish, or the physical market finish. The London PM fix for gold was 1284, and gold managed to finish at just around 1294, I think, and it went up to 1297. So we're back to that 1295 level that earlier this year had been a double top and was an important resistance. Am I saying we're going to be off to the races next week in gold? I don't know. It's encouraging, though, the market action. It's very rare to see gold going up on a Friday like this, especially after the COMEX close. It's a rarity, I can tell you that. I've been following gold for 15 years now, almost every day, 24/7, practically. So what about why gold isn't dead? And it reminds me a little bit of, Mark Twain's comment in 1897. I think he was in London, and one of the main newspapers came out and said that he was gravely ill, that he was going to die, and that there was a rumor that he had died. And then, someone, and then one of the major American newspapers actually printed his obituary. And then Twain was told about this by a reporter, and he quit. The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. So Samuel Clemens or Mark Twain said that. It's the same thing for gold. All the gold ever mined since the beginning of time, and this website here, onlygold.com, they base it on 140,000 tons, metric tons, but I think there's more. There's about 165,000. But at that level, with gold at $12.95, the value of all gold ever mined and all gold above ground is $7.8 trillion. So, and the other thing about gold is that it's widely held by sovereign governments. I've gone into the visual capitalist here and looking at this visual here about who owns all the gold. And you'd be surprised, you know, out of the 166,500 tons, metric tons that they estimate, 50% of all gold is jewelry. That's the bulk of it. The second bulk, you know, proportion is private investment, 18.7%. The third is world governments, 17.4%. And then the highest level after that, after world governments, is for industry, which I was surprised, which is 13.4%. So if you look at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin now is around 120 billion market cap. Would that be enough at present levels to back the world monetary system? I don't think so. The other point about Bitcoin is that it's digital. We don't know who created it. It's susceptible to, hacking or to the infrastructure problems like electricity. But gold, once it's out of the ground, I've got a few coins here, or a sovereign. That's not going to disappear into thin air. That, no one can hack this. This is unhackable. So, and I'm not saying that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are not important, and especially the blockchain. The blockchain is important, but we need to, look at it and see, in times of also uncertainty and war, are you really going to accept, Bitcoin from, like a different country that wants to buy stuff? No, it's going to be, payment. You go back to all the wars in the past. Gold is what people want, because if one of the factions in the war loses, the gold is still there, but the state might collapse, but you still have the gold. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think, if you think about it, would the Chinese government or the Russian government want to have their monetary reserves in Bitcoins or in gold that they can hold? And actually, they can base their currency on gold. You don't have to circulate gold coins. Gold only acts as a, it balances national accounts, and that's what it's going to do. And that's why world governments have so much gold. Gold reserves, thousands of tons. I know the UK doesn't, but the US supposedly, Germany, Italy, the Chinese, the Russians. Why are they been accumulating gold? Well, to have something to back their currency. The blockchain could be used to back this currency. Blockchain could be used as the infrastructure for the a gold-backed currency, but I don't think it's a currency itself, and that's the problem I have with it. And just because the prices are going up as they are, doesn't mean to say that gold is finished. It survived for 5,000 years. I mean, back in the late 90s, when the dot-com bubble was inflating, Gold was also finished. No one looked at gold. But then it bottomed in 2000, 2001, and look what's happened since then. So gold has been dead a few times, but it's always come back. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and you can also follow me on Twitter and on steemit.com. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.